Long before Europe industrialized, before America became a global power, before the modern borders of West Africa existed, there was a kingdom so wealthy, so feared, so organized, and so militarily advanced that foreign powers trembled at its name. A kingdom built by people who refused to kneel. A kingdom whose warriors were said to fight with the fury of thunder. A kingdom that rose from the deep forests of West Africa to become one of the greatest empires the world has ever seen. Yet, history barely mentions it. Today, we uncover the story of the Ashanti Empire, the West African superpower they never told you about. If you love African history and powerful stories like this, make sure you hit the subscribe button now so you never miss our next documentary. Now, let's begin. Deep in the forested lands of present-day Ghana, a tapestry of Akan states lived as separate entities. These were communities of traders and hunters, of gold miners and farmers, each with its own chief, its own distinct traditions, and its own proud identity. They were a rich collection of cultures, but their separation made them vulnerable. They faced constant threats from powerful expansionist rival kingdoms that sought to dominate them. They lived in fear of slave raiders who stalked the forests, capturing innocent people to be sold into a life of brutal servitude and internal disputes. Small rivalries over land and trade kept them weak, divided, and unable to present a united front against their common enemies. Then, a man destined to reshape the destiny of West Africa emerged, Osei Tutu. Guided by the wisdom and spiritual power of the legendary high priest, Okomfo Anokye, he embarked on a mission to forge a single, powerful nation from the scattered Akan clans. This was not just a political alliance. It was a spiritual revolution. According to Ashanti tradition, the foundation of this new nation was sealed by a miracle. Okomfo Anokye, in a great gathering of the chiefs and people, summoned a sacred golden stool directly from the heavens. This was the Sika Duakofi, the Golden Stool, an object believed to house the very soul, the sunsum, of the entire Ashanti people. It was decreed that it did not belong to any single king, but to the nation itself for all time. This single symbolic act changed everything. Because of that stool, generations of clan rivalries and petty conflicts vanished, replaced by a shared sense of purpose and identity. Because of that stool, people who once fought against each other now stood ready to fight side by side as brothers and sisters of one nation, and because of that stool, the mighty Ashanti Empire was born. Osei Tutu was installed as the first Asantewaa, the king of all Ashanti. And from that moment, the history of West Africa, and indeed the world, would never be the same again. The Ashanti did not become a regional superpower by accident or by luck. They achieved their dominance by building one of the most advanced, disciplined, and formidable military systems in African history. It was a war machine forged in the forests and perfected over generations of conflict. Their army was massive, capable of mobilizing tens of thousands of elite fighters at a moment's notice. This was not an undisciplined mob, but a highly organized force structured into distinct wings and advance guard, a main body, left and right flanks, and a rear guard, each with its own commander. They were masters of strategy, employing sophisticated tactics like encirclement, feigned retreats, psychological warfare, and coordinated attacks that overwhelmed their opponents. The sight and sound of their army was designed to inspire terror. The warriors wore brilliant red cloth, a stark symbol of blood and their readiness to die for their nation. The air would vibrate with the sound of their war drums, thundering through the forests with complex rhythms that were not just noise, but a sophisticated communication system. Hornblowers, using ivory horns, could signal intricate commands across vast distances and through the dense foliage, directing troop movements with astonishing precision. And their weapons were a devastating combination of tradition and innovation. They wielded razor-sharp spears and swords with lethal skill, but they also quickly adopted and mastered European firearms. The Ashanti didn't just buy muskets. They became expert marksmen, learning to reload and fire with terrifying speed and accuracy that often surpassed their European counterparts. Soon, a single phrase was enough to strike fear into the hearts of their enemies. The Ashanti are coming. When Osei Tutu was tragically killed in battle, his successor, Opoku Were did not let the empire falter. He transformed the kingdom into a true expansionist empire. He led campaigns that vastly expanded its borders, strengthening its central administration and absorbing other Akan states into a larger, cohesive national identity under the authority of the Golden Stool. The Ashanti were now, without a doubt, unstoppable. But what was the secret to the Ashanti's immense power and influence? The answer lay glittering beneath their feet: gold. The Ashanti Empire was strategically situated on one of the richest gold-producing regions on the entire planet. This incredible natural wealth was the engine of their economy, the source of their political might, and the foundation of their cultural pride. Gold was not just a commodity. It was their currency, their art, and a sacred symbol of their king's power and the nation's soul. With absolute authority, the Ashanti controlled every major trade route that snaked through their territory. If you were a trader from across the vast Sahara or a merchant arriving by ship from Europe, and you wanted to trade in the region's prized goods, gold, ivory, kola nuts, or exquisite woven fabrics, you paid taxes to the Ashanti. If you wanted safe passage for your caravans through their lands, you paid tribute to the Ashanti. And if you dared to disrespect their laws or challenge their authority, they would simply close your route, cutting you off from the immense wealth of the interior. Their capital city, Kumasi, blossomed into one of the most sophisticated and well-ordered cities in West Africa. It was a vibrant metropolis, complete with grand, multi-storied palaces, organized craft guilds specializing in everything from weaving to metalwork, and bustling marketplaces that drew traders from across the continent and beyond. The royal court itself was a spectacle of opulence and elegance, renowned for its complex etiquette and dazzling displays of golden regalia. European visitors who reached Kumasi in the 18th and 19th centuries often wrote back to their home countries in a state of shock and disbelief, their preconceived notions of Africa shattered. As one recorded, "This is not a kingdom of savages. This is a nation of immense wealth and order." But with such immense wealth came unwanted attention, and soon the specter of conflict loomed on the horizon. While many African states and kingdoms crumbled quickly under the pressure of European colonial expansion, the Ashanti stood their ground like giants rooted firmly in their ancestral soil. They would not be so easily dominated. When the British arrived, seeking not just trade but total control of the lucrative gold trade and the territories that produced it, the Ashanti flatly refused. This refusal ignited the legendary Anglo-Ashanti Wars, a series of 5 brutal, hard-fought conflicts that spanned nearly a century of bloodshed. In the early wars, the British Empire, accustomed to swift colonial victories, suffered a series of humiliating defeats that shocked the world. Entire British regiments were ambushed and wiped. Out in the dense Ashanti forests, high-ranking commanders, including a British governor, were killed in battle. Time and again, British forces were forced into a panicked retreat, unable to match the Ashanti's superior knowledge of the terrain and their brilliant guerrilla tactics. The Ashanti fought not just with muskets and cannons, but with an unyielding determination. They were fighting for their land, for their sovereignty, for their identity, and above all, for the sanctity of their Golden Stool. This struggle reached its dramatic climax in 1900. When the British governor, in an act of supreme arrogance, demanded that the Ashanti surrender the Golden Stool itself, so that he could sit upon it. He demanded the very soul of the Ashanti people. In response to this ultimate insult, something extraordinary happened. A woman rose to lead her people. Asantewaa, the queen mother of the Ejisu region, shamed the wavering male chiefs and rallied the entire kingdom to war one last time. Her powerful words still echo through the halls of history. Is it true that the bravery of the Ashanti is no more? I cannot believe it. If you, the men of Ashanti, will not go forward, then we will. We, the women, will fight. We will fight until the last of us falls in the battlefields. Inspired by her courage, the Ashanti fought with unmatched bravery in what became known as the War of the Golden Stool. Though they were eventually overwhelmed by the superior firepower of the British Empire's Maxim guns and modern artillery, they never surrendered their sacred stool. Not then, not ever. To this very day, the Golden Stool has never been touched by a foreigner, and it has never left the sacred lands of the Ashanti. The Ashanti Empire was never just a military giant or an economic powerhouse. It was, at its heart, a cultural masterpiece. Their artistic traditions, especially their intricate goldwork and lost wax casting, were admired worldwide for their beauty and sophistication. Their royal ceremonies were grand, elaborate affairs, filled with the rhythms of drums, energetic dancing, the shade of magnificent umbrellas, symbolizing status, and a dazzling array of golden symbols of authority. Their legal system was remarkably well structured, with a hierarchy of councils and chiefs who administered justice with a focus on fairness and reconciliation. Their intricate clan system, based on matrilineal descent, was the social glue that kept the kingdom united across its vast and diverse lands. The Ashanti held a deep reverence for their ancestors, believing they watched over and guided the living. They believed profoundly in the power of unity and practiced diplomacy with great intelligence and foresight. Their national festivals, like the Odwira, were not just celebrations but vital rituals that purified the nation and brought the entire kingdom together, reinforcing their shared identity and purpose. The Ashanti identity was not just about land and politics, it was a rich tapestry woven from threads of family, culture, spirituality, and immense pride. This powerful identity kept them strong for centuries, and it continues to keep them strong even today. The British eventually declared the Ashanti Empire a protectorate in 1902, formally incorporating it into their Gold Coast colony. But even then, with their king exiled and their army disbanded, the Ashanti were never truly conquered in spirit. Their resistance continued, not on the battlefield, but in the preservation of their culture and their unwavering loyalty to their nation. In 1935, recognizing the unbreakable will of the people, the British were forced to formally restore the Ashanti monarchy. The Asantewaa returned from exile to a joyous nation. The Golden Stool remained untouched and sacred, and the Ashanti nation lived on strong, proud, and unbroken. To this day, the Ashanti remain one of the most influential and respected ethnic groups in modern Ghana. Their capital, Kumasi, is still a major center of commerce, culture, and African heritage, a beacon for the continent. Their ancient traditions continue to be practiced with reverence. Their sacred stool remains the soul of their people. Their powerful history remains a source of immense pride. The Ashanti Empire, a superpower built by Africans, defended by Africans, and for too long, a story erased from the history books because it challenged the colonial narrative of a continent without great civilizations. But their story was never truly lost. Today, their story lives again. If you enjoyed this documentary and want more powerful African history like this, make sure you subscribe. Your support is what helps us keep these essential stories alive for the world to see. Thank you for watching, and long live the legacy of the Ashanti people.